I think my mum is the best because she gives the best hugs. Love you, Mum. Happy Mother's Day. For this project, you might like to use this image that I've created as a background. You could download this on a post I've created in the Apple Education Community Forum. Just jump in there and search for Rachel Minns Mother's Day. Let's create a Keynote animation for Mother's Day. We're going to start with a basic white Keynote presentation. Doesn't matter if your slide size is different to mine because we're going to go now and adjust that. To adjust your slide size, we're going to come up here to Presentation, choose Presentation Options and Presentation Setup. Come down to the bottom, Slide Size and choose a square. You can make this any size you like, but this is the size that I have chosen for this particular project, and I'm going to tap Done. Now for this project, you will have seen that there is a Happy Mother's Day background and there is a photo and some heart animations. Let's add those things in that order, starting with our background. I'm going to come up to our media icon here and choose an image because I've saved the image of the background that I need for this project in my camera roll. So I'm going to tap on here, I'm going to choose photo or video and come over to my favorites because that's where I have put this photo. I'll scroll all the way to the bottom, or maybe to the top, there we go. And here is my background and I'm going to add that in there. I've made this background a square size, so I don't need to adjust that at all. Whilst it's selected, and I can tell it's selected because of those little blue parameter dots around the outside, I'll come up to the paintbrush. That's where I can format this image. But all I want to do under Arrange is actually just lock that in place so that it's not going to move around as I do any more work with this particular project. The next thing I need to add is my image. Now you'll need to have an image for this project of your student using their hands to make that love heart symbol, and I'll show you what that looks like with an image of me. This one was taken a while ago, but we're going to use it today. Little productivity tip on the iPad. In any app, if you see these three dots, tap on those and you can actually choose a split screen on your iPad or split view. And I'm going to come over and open up my camera app. I've got all sorts of photos open here, but I want to go back to my favorites because that's where I have this photo. Open that photo. Now I'm going to use that amazing lift subject feature, to capture or to bring out just the person, just me in this image. I don't want that background. On a side note, this was for a Mother's Day project that we did in my class many years ago, but we're going to digitalize it this time. To do lift subject, I just need to hold my finger down on myself, on the person in the image. And you'll see when I do that, that little shimmer, and it kind of brings me to the forefront. There are a few different options of how you might then take just me and add it to that Keynote slide. Because we're in the split view, the easiest way to do that would be to simply just slide it over, and you'll see that little green plus, and that means if I let my finger go, I'm over there in the Keynote. I'm going to delete that though and just show you another way. If I was to long press and illuminate the subject again, I can actually just tap copy, and over in here I can tap paste and it will appear. I'm going to show you one more way. Tap and delete. Once again, long press, and the option will show up to share. I can tap share and I can tap save image down here, and it will just create a new image in my camera roll with just me and no background. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just going to use this method and bring it over. I don't need my camera roll anymore, so I'm going to put my finger on this toggle in the center and just slide the camera roll out of the way. So now I'm going to move my picture into position, and that's perfect. I'm also going to lock that so that it doesn't move around either. I can tell that that image is selected. I'll come up to my paintbrush and tap lock. So as you saw in this animation, there are some little love hearts that pop out of where the love heart shape is with the hand, and then animate and move out of the way as you hear the student's voice and see their writing. So let's start to add those shapes. Up here in our shapes library, I'm going to tap, and I'm just going to search. There are so many options. You could do flowers, you could do something else for this if you'd like, but I am going to search for a heart and add that in. I'll play around with the size. Excuse me, I'm not too sure why I did that. I'll play around with the size to make sure that the sizing is kind of how I want it to be. Now that that shape is selected, I know that if I come up to my paintbrush, the formatting options will be for the shape. So I'm going to tap. I'll come over to style because I want to color it, and I'm going to go to fill, and I'm going to choose a gradient, and I'll choose 2 pinky colors. You could fill this with an image of a student's artwork by simply selecting image, and maybe they've created an artwork that you'd like to fill those hearts with. There's a whole range of options of how you can make that your own. I'll come back into here, and I also want to add a shadow just because I like the pop that it gives, and I'll tap back onto my slide. Now we're going to animate this heart. So whilst it's selected, if I tap on it again, some options will show up. And if I was to tap over here on this arrow, there will be animate. With animations, you have 3 choices. We build in, we have an action, or we build out. The build in shows how the object's going to appear. The action shows what the object's going to do on the screen, and the build out is how the object is going to disappear. So in this case, I don't want the hearts to be there when you first open this movie, so I want to add a build in. And I'm going to choose a pop. So mine's here because I've used it recently. You'll find the pop further down along on your options here. Tap to select, it'll give you a little preview. Tap the X, and if I wanted to, I could tap here and adjust any of those settings, but I'm quite happy with exactly how that is. After the heart pops, I want it to kind of pulse a little, like a beating heart. So I'm going to come and tap on an action. So it's going to pop, and then it is going to pulse. And I'm going to move along here and choose the pulse and have a look at what that looks like. Perfect. And tap the X. So now my heart will appear with a pop, it will pulse, but I want to add one more action, which is the line, like the path movement. So I'm going to come over here, tap the plus to add another action, and I'm going to choose create path. And basically I can hold my finger on at that heart and move it just how I want it to move off the slide. And it will give me a little preview, and I will tap done. I'm going to tap on that again because I want it to go for a little bit longer, only because I know I want there to be some audio from the child, and I know that it will need to be a little bit longer. So I'm going to make it maybe about 7 seconds. Doesn't really matter. If it's not right on, perfect. And tap back here. And I am going to tap back onto my slide, tap done. So now I have my heart and it has some animations attached. I actually want 4 of those hearts though. I'm going to show you what you need to do to duplicate that heart just once, editing the animation slightly, and then I will carry on and do that so that I have 4. So I'm going to tap on that heart, and I'm going to select copy. I'm going to tap anywhere on the slide and select paste, and the heart comes back, and I'm going to move it right exactly where the other one is. I'm going to tap on it again so I can open up those animation options. I don't need to change the pop because that's exactly the same. But in my actions, I want to change the motion path because I'm going to want it to move a different motion path to the other hearts. So I'm going to tap on motion path and I'm going to tap redraw path. And this time I'm going to have it move this way. Tap done. I'm going to tap again just to adjust that timing and tap back on my slide. Tap done. And I'm going to repeat that again 2 more times. Remember to adjust the speed and to redraw the path for each. Otherwise, they'll end up either too fast or all just moving in the same direction. One thing I forgot to show you first was I'd love for you to go and make sure that, well, this is up to you actually. It's a feature that I quite like in an animation such as this. If I was to go back in and have a look at those motion paths, this align to path will have the heart rotate to follow the line that you have drawn. And I just think it looks great, a bit whimsical in this particular project. So I would go and turn that on for all your hearts as well. Have a look at what it looks like though. It is totally up to you. Now that I've added my 4 hearts and they've all got animations, I'm going to come over into my build order and have a look and start moving some of these animations in order because I want them to all pop at the same time, I want them to pulse at the same time, and I want their motion paths to move at the same time. So first I'm going to drag all of the pop animations together. Then I'm going to drag all of the pulse animations together. And last, I will transfer all of the motion path animations together so that I have the pop first, then the pulse, then the motion path. Next, all I need to do is group them together so that they occur at the same time. I'm going to tap on number 2 and down here, I will say with build 1. I'll tap on number 3 with build 1 and number 4. So the pops are all occurring together. Number 5 is a pulse. So I'm going to have it occur after build 4. And the next ones will be with that first pulse. So with build 5, and with build 5. Then the motion path, same as the pulse. It's going to come after the previous set and the rest will all just occur with. Now let's see what it looks like. We're going to tap done and press play to preview. I think that's cute. Well, much cuter if your lovely students' faces are there, except for mine. Okay, so we have our animated hearts. The next thing we need to add is some audio. I imagine it would be a message from your student to their mum talking about why they love them or why they think they're special. Remember, you can also do this project for another special person and you would just have a different background that might be not as much the Mother's Day. Maybe you could choose a lovely blank colour or a gradient or a different image in the background if you were wanting to make one of these, not for a mum. So now it's time for us to record our audio. To add your audio, come up here to the media icon and tap record audio. And all you need to do is just tap the record and have the student speak. I think my mum is the best because she gives the best hugs. Love you, Mum. Happy Mother's Day. And you can edit that if you need to or listen to it again over here, but I'm just going to insert. This won't show up on the movie, so it really doesn't matter where it is, but for the sake of it, let's just move it out of the way. The last thing I want to add is the writing, and I'm just going to have the student write mum with a little love heart for a special effect. So I'm going to use if you have an Apple Pencil, if you simply just tap on your screen and the tools will show up. If you don't have an Apple Pencil, the other way that you can access the drawing tools is up here in the media icon and insert drawing. I'm going to choose this pen, second from the right. I'm going to make sure it has a bit of a medium thickness and that it is black. And I'm just going to write, oh no, actually I don't like that thickness. I want it a lot thicker than that. I'm going to press back up the top right here and make it thicker. And I might just write mum, and I'm going to do a love heart, and I'm going to make sure that it's a closed shape, that there's no breaks in that love heart. And I'm going to come down and use this paint tube. And over here is the little rainbow circle. This is where you can choose all sorts of colours. And I'm just going to choose one of my favourite colours, a deep pink, and then just tap on that heart to fill. Now that I've done that drawing, we need to animate the drawing and go back into our build order so that we can make sure the audio, the drawing, and the animations all start at the same time. I can see my drawing is selected, so if I was to tap on that, those options will show up. I'll choose animate. I want to add a build in because I want the drawing to appear, and I want it to appear in a line draw animation. And it will simply redraw my lines, including that lovely heart. I'm quite happy with that. I will just check what speed it is. It could go for a little bit longer, but I don't actually need that writing to occur as long as everything else. I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to come up to my build order because you'll notice here's all our heart animations. Down the bottom we have our audio recording and our line drawing. I want that audio recording to occur right up the front with build 1. It's not an option, so I need to slide it, drag it all the way up to the top of my animations. I'm going to grab that line drawer as well and move it all the way up the top. I'm going to tap on the second and say with build 1. And then I'm going to tap on this big selection of heart animations and also say with build 1. So now the drawing will start, the audio will start, and the heart sequence of animations will all begin at the same time. Let's tap done and let's preview. I think my mum is the best because she gives the best hugs. Love you, Mum. Happy Mother's Day. And there you go. I'm just going to show you now how to export that. Up here again, next to our title, you can rename that to be your students. If we were to tap on there, there's the option to rename. But I'm just going to go to export, and we're going to export as a movie. Because there is audio, if you didn't want to do this with audio, you could export it as an animated GIF and it would just have the photo, the animations, and the writing just appear over and over and over again. But because I've got that audio, it needs to be a movie. I've only got one slide, so I don't need to adjust the slide range, and I'm fine with leaving everything else as it is. And I will tap export and then save video. And it will save that as a movie to my camera roll, ready to share with families. If you wanted to, as well as sending that movie, you could also create an image of just this here that you could also share with mums, with their students, lovely faces and the hearts and the writing. And that would simply be exporting as an image. I hope you have fun with this project.